Welcome to another episode of Behind the Studs, your home improvement and remodeling podcast, where the two most entertaining guys discuss the do's and don'ts in home construction and in the remodeling industry. Remember that you can nail it, paint it, or just tune into the show. How about that? Here are your hosts, Colin Shaw and Jimmy Driscoll.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Behind the Studs. Hello Jimmy, how are you?
I'm awesome, man. I'm awesome.
Good.
Couldn't be any better, I'm telling you.
Really?
I'm going to tell you something.
Wow.
This coronavirus has just got me in such a great mood.
I know.
Just like everybody else.
I know.
Just want to go dancing on the streets with no clothes on. What does it matter? No one's going to see me anyway.
It's the Mad Ticker.
The Mad Ticker.
Well, let's keep the clothes on. We got a show to do.
Yeah.
You know, we have a guest, so we need to be on our best behavior.
No, we don't.
All right.
Nope.
No? All right.
Nope.
Good. So you love saying this name over and over again, so I'm going to let you introduce it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people from all ages, would you please welcome to the Skype, the one and only, the myth, the legend.
Here it goes.
Barbara Butler.
Woo! All right.
Why, thank you.
How was that intro? Yeah.
That was
you
the
get that
best
all the
ever.
time, right?
No, that was the best ever. That was like a circus intro.
I know. Sorry we didn't have any music behind it.
Well, maybe Marissa could add something.
Yeah.
Just like the big fanfare or something going on there.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would be great.
So, Barbara, tell us what you do for a living.
Well, I have a company that I've done for 30 years, and we make playhouses and tree houses for kids. Play structures, playhouses, tree houses for kids. Anything for kids that's outdoors.
That is awesome.
Nice.
That is awesome. And your website is barbarabutler.com, right?
Yep, barbarabutler.com. Yep. I started in 1987.
Awesome. Yep. I was going to say you had to start a long time ago because you actually got your name.com. So that's not an easy thing to do these days. So you were able to pull it off from day one. That's awesome.
Well, I actually had a weird start that way because my friend I was making furniture back then also, and she wanted me to make her a canopy bed, and she wanted to trade. And I was like, well, I knew she worked with computers, but they didn't mean anything to me at that point. This is like in 1999. And she said, I said, well, what could you trade? You know, what could I need? And she said, I could make you a website. And I actually remember saying, what's a website? And she said, trust me, they're going to be big.
Yeah. So she knew. She
knew. And I had one way ahead of everybody else. Yeah.
Wow. Isn't that amazing?
Nobody else had websites, just you.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well,
someday if you buy a computer, you'll see my website.
Yeah, people would say things like, you have a website?
What's a website?
Yeah, what's a website? And I'm going to be on dial-up, and it's going to take me an hour to download the homepage. So, God, those days were horrible.
I know.
So remember those? Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we're dating ourselves here. So
we're losing Barbara, you're making playgrounds. Is that you having fun? You making playgrounds? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, I love it. I do. So I do both public and private. Like right now I'm on, we're doing a public works job, and we have to finish it up because they feel it's dangerous to close it. So this project's actually open at the moment, but they're trying to like rush me along to hurry up and close it. So we're trying.
How many people work with you?
Well, we normally have 14, but I've furloughed a few people during this awful crisis. And I just got, they want me to just have the essential crew on here. So, but those guys are happy too. So, but usually it's the happy group of 16 of us total, and office and builders. And a lot of them are related to me.
I was going to say, I know you work with a lot of family members. So are those the ones that you laid off?
I tried to, but they won't go. No.
They won't go anywhere. Right? I know. That's my family too.
No, but everybody actually, almost everybody's worked for me we've kind of like stayed together, this tight crew, for a long time. I think most people have worked for me 10 to 18 years now. So it's
that's great.
You know, it's a great job. It's a great job.
Yeah, it looks like it. So what got you started in this?
Well, I had I went to school to be a lawyer. You know, my mom wanted me to be a lawyer. So I went to school thinking I would be a lawyer. And I realized didn't want to do it. And when I got out of, college, I hadn't quite applied to law school yet. And then I went and visited my brothers down in DC that were doing a remodeling business. And I was mixing mud, learned to mix mud. And, just do like all the terrible errands and running, mixing mud and drag this over here and do that. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. This is what I love. And I always said I loved the lifestyle. It was freezing cold. It was rainy. It was miserable. You got dirty. Then you get to go have a fried egg sandwich with a hot cup of coffee, and then back to some more misery. And I was like, oh my God, this was made for me.
Love this woman, Barbara Butler, and the egg sandwich.
She seals it with the egg sandwich and a cup of coffee. That's awesome.
That's the way you start the day. That's it.
I know. And I was just like, okay, I want this lifestyle. And then but everybody was like, you can't really do that for a living. And I was like, so then I actually went back to graduate school to be a writer. I thought I wanted to be a writer. And then I got into painting. And then I didn't know what I was going to do. But then my boyfriend in graduate school, he had some construction background too. And he wanted to do a business. He wanted to move to San Francisco and do a business doing backyards, like kind of artistic backyards. And I was like, okay, I can do that. Same thing. It was outdoor work. I really loved that idea. And but it was kind of his show. And then we kind of scratched our way up, then we got this good gig with Bobby McFerrin of, Don't Worry, Be Happy.
Oh, yeah.
It was right before. Yeah, it was right before Don't Worry, Be Happy came out. And, but they had us over to see about doing their backyard. And, it was a huge project, way too big for us, but I said, we can do this. And I remember I took a check that very first day, and my boyfriend, Bob, when we left, he was like, don't you cash that check. We can't do that job. It's too big. I said, we are doing this job. You wanted this business. We are doing this. I said, if we can't do it, we're going to find somebody to help us. But we're doing it.
Yeah.
Because one of the things she wanted was a custom play structure at the bottom of the yard. And I was like, that sounds fun. So then I went and played on all the play structures in town and came up with this design, which she really liked. And I built it. And I believe I made about $1 an hour doing it.
Yeah.
But I was in love. I was like, and then it was like, this is it. I just announced to everybody, okay, this is it. This is what I want to do. I'm going to build custom play structures around the country. I'm going to go around the country doing custom play structures. And I mean, the laughs I got for that one. Everyone was like, you can't do that for a living. And I was like, yes, I can.
Wow.
So, and you're doing it.
Yeah, my poor sister, she told me you can't do it. And then she said, no, she said, come on, let's figure out how much it's going to cost. It's going to be at least $10,000, when she added it all up. She goes, no one's ever going to pay $10,000 for a play structure. And I was like, yes, they are. And then that was like in 88 or something. In 1999, I had been in Architectural Digest in 96, and I had gotten a big burst of work from it. And, in 99, she quit her job in Connecticut, a good corporate job in Connecticut, and she moved out to became partners with me in the business, and we incorporated. And to this day, when anyone writes me a check over $10,000, I always put a little note on it that says, no one's going to pay $10,000 for a play structure.
Yeah.
Good for you. Don't let that one go.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's great.
Great.
That is great.
So now
great.
She's
you get
been
to design.
Yeah, I design them and I oversee the building of them. And my sister runs all the yucky stuff in the office. It's great. Insurance, it's amazing.
I know, I do that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So how'd you end up in Architectural Digest? Did they see something of yours or?
Yeah, I guess they saw something, I had nice little word of mouth, early on, and I was still taking, regular construction jobs. But part of why I picked the ridiculously long name of Barbara Butler, artist builder, back then was because I wanted to do artistic jobs, and I had really, saw myself as an artist first. And so, I kind of regret the long name, but it still sticks to the point that I don't want to do cookie cutter stuff. I've done I think now we're up to job number 708. So I've got, 708 custom projects, in the play world.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been on your site, and if anybody else wants to as well, again, barbarabutler.com, you definitely want to sit there and spend some time on it because it's a lot of fun, because you're getting to see all these cool playhouses and all the different designs. And, I also noticed that you do sell some of your plans.
Yes.
Some of the basic plans that you do. So you do have those for sale. So if somebody wants to try to tackle it themselves, they can.
Yes, and I'd love to do more of those too. I mean, that's an area I'd really like to expand. And it's just I'm kind of busy. I have this problem of I just love making these, and I kind of keep going on to the next one, and I haven't really explored, building that up. We sell our custom stains also. We make these Tung Oil stains from scratch. I originally bought them from Woodburst Stains up in Seattle, and then when he retired, he sold me all his equipment. Gave me like 2 weeks notice and said, "I'm selling. You better buy it." And I'm like, "Oh my God." So, we went up, we learned how to do it. You take the dry pigment, and you mix it with some oil and you have to grind it and all this. So we learned how to do it. My husband, he joined the business in like 93. He joined the business kind of reluctantly, not really a carpenter, kind of has learned it all along the way. I still think he only does it to humor me. But so we went up and he's such a nice guy, and he can pack up anything. Like when we're shipping something to France or something, we stuffed an ocean container for this one job, and it was like a 40-foot ocean container. We had to take everything with us. We had to take power pack, everything, and we didn't end up being short anything. He's really good at anticipating what we're gonna need.
Yeah. Can we back up for a second? You were talking about Tung Oil.
Oh yeah, Tung Oil.
I've had a really bad experience with it outside. How did you?
Oh.
Because I guess it's an organic compound, and
yes.
it just was awful. What did you do? Because I had a terrible experience with it.
Oh well,
loved it. I love it.
Did you do it pure Tung Oil? Was it pure Tung Oil?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to cut it with a solvent. We cut it quite a bit. I think it's 60-40 cut with a high grade solvent. And then
I'm sorry, I did cut it down, but it just went moldy on. Yeah. I used I think it was paint thinner you're supposed to use, right?
Yeah. We use this high grade. See, I got everything from him. So all his, we just do what he did. But it's a high grade I think it's a screen printer solvent that we get, in large quantity.
Ah, okay.
So it could be that, and it could be the Tung Oil too. We get the Chinese Tung Oil and the solvent, and then we had this other thing called ATH, which I don't even know what it does, but I think it somehow smooths things out. So, and then we have 59 colors that we mix into it.
Wow.
And they're awesome colors too. If you see the pictures on the site,
and I've only
definitely
had
some really cool colors.
And I've only had great luck with it working,
Great.
I love how it, we rub it on. It's a pain in the butt. You got to you brush it on, and then you have to rub off the excess. Oh, that's a good one. The guy in the car next to me. Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Car alarm.
And
oh my God. I don't think there's any way to shut him up.
Probably not.
There.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. All right.
Oh my God. Anyways, it's you have to rub it off. You brush it on, and you have to let it soak in, and then you rub it off. But I love how it stands up to the weather, and it's not something that's going to peel. It just sort of wears off. So I love it. And I'm sorry
so I got to do some more investigation there. Well,
try going online and get one from us.
Yeah, I think the ATH is what I think that's the component that keeps it from going where it's going, where it went with me. So there's something that I need. I need another compound to use it outside is what the problem is, because inside it's fine. Outside the elements do something with it. So all right, that's good to know. I'll figure it out, and I'll just send you an email if I'm like I'm lost.
The mad scientist over there.
I will look at your colors.
Mixing stuff up. Oh my God.
I will look at your colors. I will.
Yeah, they're very cool. Very. Yeah.
No, I love. They are fussy though. It's true that these old-fashioned finishes are very fussy. Like you can't let it get on metal. You have to take it off metal right away. You can't do it in the hot sun, but you can't do it when it's too cold either. So it is a little fussy, but it's very old-fashioned. Mm-hmm. And we've tried to make it really green. We don't add a lot of other things to it, although it is a oil base, so that's not that green, but we don't add any mildewcides or anything, because we're thinking of it around kids that might be like actually chewing on it. So it's non-toxic when dry, but the solvent, which is in it while you're applying it, makes it
That's toxic.
slightly toxic.
That's toxic.
Yeah.
So let's get to once you get into designing. So you're working with the town. Town wants you to put in a playground, play stool, whatever you're gonna do. Blah 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 blah. So they sit down with you and they go, "Wait, we like this." You show them designs, and I'm sure they're looking at liability. We don't want nothing we're going to be liable for, right? So you have to build at certain heights, codes, widths, railings, ropes. No spikes, nothing that protrudes that will impale a kid. Right.
Right.
So it's going to be round. Right?
No
Non-skid.
ribbon wire at the top. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Nice.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So that must be something too. Does that involve you too when you finally put up a playground and it's built to specifications? Does the homeowner sign a form? Is there any form involved, or is it like, God love you? Yeah, there is.
No, both for the public and the private ones. We have them sign something, that says everybody has to sign this thing that agrees that play has some inherent danger in it. But we also do all these things to, try to mitigate that. We don't want to have, what we want is kids to be having risk, and we want the appearance of danger, but we don't want actual hazards, and we don't want anyone getting hurt. So like if you want the kids to climb and maybe try a little hard and maybe they fall, so when they land, they don't land on concrete. Have them land on something soft. So basically, I have these safety standards for the
small
public
rocks.
Code. For the public code, the safety standards are very strict. The private code is not as strict, but for all of them, we have our own set of safety standards also for, we want to make sure to minimize the chance of kids getting hurt, but we don't want it to make play boring either. And there's a lot of discussion about that in the play world right now.
Oh my God, I played on a highway when I was a kid. I'm not kidding you. 213. We ran across the highway. We played softball right next to the right in the clover leaf. We played called the Sugar Bowl.
Like a real game of Frogger.
Stupid. Foul ball. Foul, bang. Hit it go. Jesus. Run.
Very nice.
How did I survive?
How did any of us survive back then?
Watch out for the wood chips. You might get a splinter.
Right.
Splinter? Is that all we're worried about? Oh my God. I'm worried about 18-wheelers for crying out loud. Oh my God. There was no fence. At the end of my street, there was no fence. At the end of the street, there was a highway that ran parallel to the other street. So you could actually ride your bike and just walk, and walk right across like the 2-lane highway. It was nuts.
Oh my God, your poor mother. Your poor mother.
Oh, my mother knew. I can come back if I got hit by a car. Just wash yourself off. We're having dinner in 10 minutes. Sit down.
Don't tell your father.
Don't tell your father. Oh my God.
So do you have to deal with building officials, inspectors and stuff like that?
I'm sure.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Not always. Sometimes on, what I do basically for a residential job, I always check in first with the town. Online is my preference. Check in first online to see what are the requirements, and then try to make sure we don't do something that violates the requirements unless they have an estate and they're way deep within or something, So, but in general, my rule is don't torture your neighbors by putting the play structure right on the property line so that then the kids look down into their bedroom or something like that. So there's a lot of, and play structures are often exempt in certain cities. It really varies city to city. So
see, that would be my thing. It's like around here, codes do vary from town to town. So you're traveling all across the country, and by the sounds of it, even across the pond too. You were saying about going to France. So you're trying to deal with all these different people. That's just amazing. That would be baffling to me.
Yeah, it's just every project. The first thing you got to do is sort of look up the, what's on the website for the zoning and for the permits, and a public project like this one I'm doing in Redwood City right now that I'm here at the job site. It's called the Magical Bridge Playground, and this is my second one. And these are for kids of all abilities. So it's for everyone, a place where everyone can play. But basically, we're making the park completely wheelchair accessible and for kids with autism and hearing and sight issues. But we don't want it to look like, something special. We want it to just look like a totally cool playground that
Yeah.
doesn't have barriers. So, and I'm just part of one part of a big team that's doing it. And I'm doing this 2-story playhouse with a bridge and a little tree house they can go out to. But I mean, I've been on the planning of this for 3 years, and and now we're here building it. Like, we just did these 2 tree attachment bolts into the tree to carry this 6x12 girder for my tree house. And we put those 2 tree attachment bolts in one day. And afterwards I laughed. I was like, oh my God, one day to put it in. It took about 6 months to talk them into letting me put it in. And I had to bring on a lot of experts. This is my first public job where I got permission to use tree attachment bolts. So it was a chore, but I did it.
Yeah, good for you. You could never hire me. Because the town official would go, what is that? I go, it's a catapult. You put the kid in it, and it shoots him right across the pavement, right into the car.
I know.
I'll be like, Barbara, look at the catapult. Isn't this wicked cool? This is wicked pisser. You're fired, Jimmy.
Yeah, you're fired. Yeah.
I know. We have to be so patient. We really are very patient with it. And
yes,
so the public jobs this very long planning phase. But now, like, we built it all in my shop. So around 2000, I switched. I used to build them on site. I didn't do public ones originally because they were too hard. So now I'm doing more public ones, and I've kind of got my team together. I have to have a structural engineer that approves all my custom drawings first, and I have a playground safety consultant who goes over everything with me. So, and I have the arborist now. So I have the whole group that kind of works with me to make sure that the cities are okay with it. And so now I'm doing more of the public ones, but it's just a longer process with the public ones, whereas the private ones, they're so much fun. You can go in and be like, okay, tell me what you want, and everyone yells at once, and then I write it down, and then I come back with some drawings, and they're like, oh my God, we love number 2. And then you tell them how much it costs. They have a little like, oh my God, really? But then you explain why it costs so much, and then they let me build it. I'm still amazed that people let me build things.
Now, you do ribbon cutting, and when it's all in, when it's finally in, do they do like a ribbon cutting?
Sometimes. My favorite is to do that. I love it. We actually we did this treehouse where it was a present for the kids, so we wrapped the entire thing in shade cloth, and then one of my workers did a giant bow, like out of red. I don't even know what she made it out of. She just made this giant bow, and we put on it too, and it was a big hit. The whole unveiling of it.
Very cool.
It's really fun.
Yeah,
it's really fun to watch the kids play on them, and I still love that at the end watching them explore it. So on public jobs, it's a little frustrating. There's a long period. Like, we'll finish installing in a couple weeks, and then we won't see it open. The park won't open for another 4 months or 3 months or something like that. So it's a delay factor. But the first magical bridge that we did in Palo Alto, basically it was a couple moms that had kids with special needs, and they came up with the whole idea, and they did it. And now they have this foundation, and they're doing more of them. But that first one we opened, I mean, I was so busy right up to the opening. Like, the ladies, called me the day of the opening, like, oh my God, we need a gold key to give to the city. Can you make one out of wood quick? So I'm in my shop making a giant key, painting it gold, driving down, cleaning it out the window so it'll dry. And I get there, and they cut the ribbon, and the people come in to explore the park, and we were all shocked by how many people in wheelchairs, like parents in wheelchairs, kids in wheelchairs, with walkers, with special needs. I mean, it was we just didn't realize what a minority that was being unrepresented, that these people were saying, we can't go to parks because the curbs, we can't get the wheelchairs into the park, we can't get parking close enough. Isn't that so? It was kind of an amazing moment, and it's just been a really fun thing to be involved with the Magical Bridge people.
Nice.
Great awareness.
Very cool.
Great
very
awareness.
Cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they need a place to play too. So, and like you said, you try to make it so that it doesn't look like it was made special for anybody, just for having fun.
Right. It's just a community park, and let's get rid of curbs and barriers, and you have to be really thoughtful in the design part, which is why you have the 3 years of planning, I think.
Right.
But
yeah, probably.
Yeah, but then it is fun to go to a residential job and someone will be like my favorite on a residential job is they'll say, well, here's the tree. Do you think we could do anything with it? And it's like, oh my God. Then it's just totally fun.
Have you ever walked away from a tree that you couldn't work with?
Not really, because even if the tree can't support it, you can make it look like it could support it. And,
okay.
You could just have it look like it's doing the work, but then you hand dig some posts and have that actually support it. So I've done that. And I did go to this meeting in Las Vegas in 2007, I think. And they said they wanted a tree house for this, it was like a mall, outdoor mall. And I was like looking around and I was like, yeah, but you don't have a tree. And they're like, oh yeah, could you go to Texas? We want you to go to Texas and pick out a tree. And so I was like, okay. So I flew to Texas and bought a tree.
Wow.
They
planted
the tree.
That's
for
one
me.
way.
Yeah. It was great.
How did you find the tree?
They set it all up. They set it all up.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
There was a big tree farm.
Yeah. It's these brothers or their brother-in-laws, and they find like it was a golf course that was going to be torn down and made into development. So they find these places where trees are going to be removed, and they come in and they box them, and it was fascinating how they did it. They have to have the time, but first they identify the trees that can go down the road, and then they cut the roots, in the largest box possible, and leave the tree for like a month or two and see whether it survives that. And then they build the box around it. Okay. And then they pull the box up, put it next to the hole for another couple of months, So they had it down. And the tree did very well.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how often are the kids involved in the planning aspect of these tree houses?
Well, not often enough. I love it when the kids are involved. And
really,
a lot of times the parents, sometimes they get involved, but sometimes the parents, I swear, like kids, I go, no, don't involve those little people. We want to do this, So, so it's kind of hard to let them.
One of the things that you say.
That what?
Yeah, that's one of the things that you say, on the website too, is that it's not just for kids; it's for the adults as well. They're made to withhold the weight of an adult. So
yes, very much so. I think it's really great to have it be adults and kids playing together, but I think it's important that it's sized for the kids. It's angled to the kids. I hate these ones that are like fussy real houses with regular sized doorways. I don't hate them, but I don't want to make those. I want to make.
You do.
I want to make crazy places with secret escapes and fire poles, and I want it to be all about play and the spirit of play and outdoors and the kids running around. I like to design in loops of play where the kids are racing around and round, and you wear them out that way. That was when I was a kid, and I have 7 brothers and sisters. When I was a kid, it was like be home by dark. That was it. We just roamed around crazy, wild.
Sure.
Got in a lot of trouble.
And Jimmy was playing in a highway. Great.
Playing in the highway. Our variation on it. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, but now it's different.
We really got along good.
Yeah.
I know. And now it's different, though.
Now
I
it's
get
very
it.
different. I know.
But I want to create that wild place in the yard for the kids. So I like to create that place where they can be fun and crazy and not get hurt. So,
sure.
But still, it's about combining imaginative play with physical play, so that and that they wear themselves out, and that they want to go up and hang out in the trees, and they don't really think about their devices that much, because they're busy having fun, and the sun is setting.
Yeah,
nice.
That's awesome. So now we know you're on project number 708, and you do all these cool projects. You dropped the name Bobby McFerrin already, but you've done some projects for some big names out there, right?
I have. I've been lucky. Really early on, I did one for Kevin Kline and Phoebe Cates back in New York, and they were really nice to. I think through them, I got to do a design for Robert Redford for Sundance, but we didn't build it, unfortunately. But he was great to work with. And then the designs from that I got to use in other projects. and I did one for Will Ferrell and his family. That was really fun.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I bet.
And unfortunately, in the recent, and Will Smith. Unfortunately, in the recent years, they're almost all on non-disclosures, so I can't say.
Yeah, no, I know. I would imagine.
Yeah, right.
Back in the day, you were allowed to, but not anymore.
No, back in the day, you could say things, and everybody was like, "That's fine." I mean, and it's fine. It's the new way. I think with the social media, people worry more and stuff. But in general, I do like to have the rule of I pretty much only like to work for like really nice people. So
yeah.
So even the famous people have been really nice.
Yeah, I like to work for grumpy, miserable people.
Typical New England.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
they're a little bit nicer out in California.
Yeah. They show up at the door with bamboo shoots under their fingernails. What do you want?
Well, yeah, I don't always get it. It's just that's what I like.
Right.
I want to have fun the whole way. I want to have fun the whole time. I want to have fun designing it and building it, and then when we bring it in and install it, it's like, it's not a high profit business, even though I charge really crazy prices, but it's like there's the team and there's the crazy insurance policies that I have to have, which are insane.
Sure.
And there's just the delivery and installation charges, and when we go outside of the area, putting people up, it's just like, but I'm always there too. I always go. It's a very, I'm like very involved in it all along the way because I like to see them all the way through. And I think that's the way I can ensure that they're incredibly safe too.
Right.
Unfortunately, my crew.
Control. I mean,
I'm the quality control. Unfortunately, my crew humors me on that.
That's nice. Well, one final question we ask everybody who's on the show: any horror stories you want to share with us?
Oh God, there's so many. Let's see.
You sound like me. We have some people that go on the show. They're like, I can't think of one. I'm like, really? You can borrow one of mine. I got plenty of them.
I know, really. It's like, for me, it's like, which one can I say? Which one is the one that I'm allowed to say? Well, I remember this is one that pops into my mind. So it was because we're in a tough time now too. And part of the thing now, I realize construction's so impacted by all this with the virus. And I was like, oh God, I know I'm going to end up having to drag my business through this. And basically I did in 1980. So I started in 87. In 89, I remember my second play structure. It was 87. It was Black Monday. I was supposed to sign in 87 for my second play structure on Black Monday. I don't even know if you remember Black Monday, but the stock market took this giant crash. And I was like, well, I don't know anything about stocks, but I think we should delay this meeting. So when we delayed it, I got the job anyways. And then, but that was a hard time of staying in business, even though I was just starting. And then in 2000 in the Bay Area, in 2000 was a really hard time with the .com, that little bubble in the Bay Area, the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah.
So that one I should remember. I remember the discounts, the groveling that I had to do to keep the business going, And then in 2007 or 8 or whatever year that one was, it's just like, my. And I was kind of caught off guard on that one because I was installing a huge project and didn't really look up soon enough, but we made it through. But when I think of like using your fingernails to climb up a wall, that's how it feels. So now I'm like, oh my God, here we are again. We're going to have another one of these.
I know. It seems like every 10 years or so, there's something that comes up. So,
but it's important to just keep doing it. And, I do think it's important to say, I'll do whatever it takes. I really love the business and we're going to get back to those good periods. And we're going to have to do a lot of, discounting, cajoling. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be easy, but I'm determined to do it, because I don't want to stop. My sister has an awning company. She's like, I think I'm going to quit. I'm like, you can't quit. We're doing this. We're doing this together.
That's right. We're going to be in this together. Yeah. Jimmy and I are in this together too. Right, Jim?
Yeah,
there
absolutely.
You go. There you go. Oh, yeah. We'll make it. Well,
actually, the thing that this whole crisis has revealed is that really people need services. They want construction to happen. We want things for our children, and we want home improvement, and we want our public parks. I mean, I think I think in the long run, it's going to be good. It's just going to be a little lumpy along the way. And this is a long way of just saying that, there's each one of those time periods I was just telling you about. There's a story where, someone put the screws to me, and had me cut my price more and more, and I had to do it to make payroll. And, I did it. I'll do it. Don't tell them for the next job's coming up. But I'm just saying that's where you dig deep and you figure out, okay, how can I do this and keep going?
Right.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And good for you. You made it. So
I don't want to be
I'm
a
not
bummer
counting you out of this
that.
time either. So
No, I'm making it. I am making it.
You're gonna make it. I'm not concerned at all. Yeah. Well, thank you. All right, Barbara Butler, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, please visit barbarabutler.com. Check her out. Check out the website. Like I said, give yourself a good 15-20 minutes or so, because you're going to go through and you're not going to be able to stop looking at all the different pictures.
I'm going to check out those colors, Barbara.
Yeah, and the colors are really cool too. So yeah, absolutely.
Can I say one other thing too? I encourage people to
no,
feel
we're
free
done.
to...
No. That was it.
You're ready to go. You're ready to go.
Our next guest coming in for Washington.
I like when people go to my website and use it as inspiration. If they don't want to buy the plans, that's cool. But just use it as inspiration to build your own. It's really the best is probably for the parents or the uncles and aunts to build it for kids themselves. And so, I feel really fortunate that I've been able to turn it into a business, but I really get it doesn't have to be as fancy and as high quality as I make, It's like just come up with something fun, and people can make these things for themselves in their yards. And feel free to use my website for inspiration.
Yes, nice. But anybody building something in a tree, please consult a professional. Make sure that you've got the right lumber and attachments and everything else, so the kids don't fall down the tree.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
so just make sure we do that part.
Yes, arborists. Check
Other
for
than
the
that,
arborists.
you paint it and do everything else. Yeah. There you go. Yes, the arborists. Right. All right, Barbara. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Barb.
Okay, it was fun. Thanks, you guys.
Good. Thank you.
Wicked fun.
Good luck.
Wicked.
Good luck on the project. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Jimmy. I'll see you next week.
See you next week.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.